Welcome to AU Nation. I'm your host, Evan Blank, here to bring you the latest opinions from your very own student media. Joining me today first is Noah Gardner from WEGL 91.1 FM. He's the host of GH Sports and calls Auburn softball and soccer games for our great radio station. Noah, how are you today?
Doing great, Evan. How are you?
I am not too bad. Excited to talk some sports. Next and last, it's a two-man show today. We have Jelani Baptiste. He also has a radio show on WEGL called The Fifth Quarter, Tuesdays at 3. Is that correct, Jelani?
Yes, sir.
Tuesdays at 3. Tune into that. Jelani, how are you today?
I'm doing well, man. Excited to talk to sports.
It's going to be a great day. On to our first topic, and we begin in the world of Auburn sports with Auburn softball, and that Auburn softball team has had a couple of rough outings lately. They dropped 2 of 3 to the number 1 ranked Florida Gators and 1 to Mississippi State, along with some key players who are struggling. How does Auburn get out of this slump? Noah, we'll start with you.
Well, the main problem has been hitting and cashing in on opportunities. Followed Auburn softball over the break, and that's really when we began to see this slump begin. And it started with the fact that when they got on base, they just didn't bring them around. They were unable to string together some hits. We saw some lineup changes in the Mississippi State series. And I really think the key right now is that players just have to change their approach to the plate and try and find a way to bring these runs around, because if they can't do that, the SEC schedule is going to get very, very intimidating.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, that's been a problem all season. It hasn't just started with the Florida series. All season has been a problem with getting runs across the plate.
And it was kind of masked when
when we were putting up 18 points.
Yeah.
You don't notice that you left 10 more on base. But I think that is, like you said, it's going to be a thing of changing up lineup a little bit, maybe a little bit of confidence of just going out there and knowing what you can do. They have the ability. They have the bats. They have the people that have hit the home runs. They know they can do it. It's just getting out there and executing. And maybe 1 or 2 people need to move in the lineup that might make a difference. But I don't think it's anything that they're really gonna, really. It's not something that's gonna really hurt them in the sense of moving them in the lineup. The team is really good. They lost 2-3 to Florida, but Florida's the number 1 team in the nation that hasn't lost literally other than to Auburn. Miss State has a pretty strong team. We were on the road after the Florida series, so it happens. You only have 4 losses on the season. We're 3-3 in the SEC right now, so it's a long season ahead of us. They will be fine. It's just to get out there and make sure that they execute next time they play.
Yeah, and the SEC is such an onslaught of great teams every weekend, and drought at this point in time of the year for me seems really dangerous, just because losses can kind of pile up and then you find yourself in a hole. This team needs to kind of correct it very quickly.
They can. I think this is a team that has the capabilities and will correct it. I think coming home this next weekend will be very crucial to the success lower down the road. But we also have to acknowledge that they only have 2 more series at home against really strong teams. So.
Auburn softball gets back in action tonight against Georgia State on the road, and then they host South Carolina on a great SEC weekend series, so you don't want to miss that one. But we move from softball to women's basketball, and the Auburn women's basketball team reached the round of 32, but they fell to number 1 seed Baylor by more than 30 points. But still, this team was picked near the bottom of the SEC this year. How bright does the future look for this team? Jelani, we'll start with you.
The future looks very bright. This is a team that only has 2 seniors, one in Tracy Tanner and the other in Cabriana Capers. Cabriana coming off the bench, being a role player. Her loss, not saying that it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't hurt as much as losing a Tracy Tanner, who's one of your most important people that was up near the top of the NCAA in field goal percentage. But bringing back key pieces like a Brandy Montgomery, she's a junior this year, Katie Firkin, who's a junior this year, and Janiyah McKay, who was a true freshman. The future looks bright for this team. They, like you said, they were picked at the bottom of the SEC, and to finish off this season in the NCAA tournament with a 20-win season, the first one in a really long time, with a 4-star recruit coming in and Tyra Johnson, I think it's really exciting for the future of the Auburn basketball team. I think they should make a repeat visit to the NCAAs next year. Hopefully they can continue to get better, and as long as Coach Flo is here and they play that pressure and they play that with up to their capabilities, Auburn is going to be on the rise, and I think they have a very good future coming soon.
Yeah, I definitely think Auburn's on the rise. Coach Flo has been developing this squad for a couple seasons now. They look like they could be a very talented group down the line. But the main issue that I see is I don't think that they'll ever get up there with someone like South Carolina or the Baylors or the UConns. That's so hard to do. But I don't necessarily believe that's Auburn's goal. I think in the men's side and on the women's side, they just want to go to the NCAA tournament consistently. And that's definitely a goal that I believe that they will be able to achieve, because you saw that this year with them able to go. And then in subsequent years, I really think they'll be able to return.
No, definitely what you're saying. I mean, I think everybody's goal is to make the NCAA and win. But, you know, you got to take it one step at a time. You made the NCAA this year, made the round of 32. Next year, you want to make the Sweet 16. And if Auburn really wants to make it to the national championship, they just need to get a little bit of height and a little bit more three-point shooting.
All right, that'll wrap it up here for our Auburn topics, but stick around. We turn national next. Get out your brackets. March Madness Talk is next on AU Nation Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
Families come in all sizes and shapes. Sometimes your friends are your family by choice, or sometimes you're just stuck with Uncle Charles. But what we know is that you want to protect the people that are close to you, but the flu can unravel everything. Your flu vaccine protects you and your family. No matter what draws your family together, protect yourself, protect your family. Everyone needs a flu vaccine.
Welcome back to AU Nation on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6. We turn national now with the show and what is encapsulating the nation. March Madness has proved to be just that, madness. Let's be honest, all of our brackets are busted at this point. So right here, we're going to play the second chance bracket game. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our two analysts give their opinions about who wins each matchup, and from there, we're just going to go through these next two rounds. So gentlemen, are you ready for some redemption?
Well, you know, my bracket's still looking pretty good, so
Yeah, I second that.
I don't know if I need redemption just yet.
All right, well, we will see what you do. We start in the South region, the Louisville Regionals this weekend. We'll start with the top half of that, Kansas and Maryland. Jelani, who do you pick in that game and why?
My brain tells me Kansas. My heart tells me Maryland. I really like Rasheed Suleiman. I like Melo Trimble. I like Maryland. I want Maryland to win. But Kansas and Bill Self, I think they have the strong suit. So I'm going to go with Kansas.
Kansas. Noah, how about you in that game?
Well, great pick. I agree with you completely about Kansas. Something I learned in the first round was do not pay attention to your gut, go with your brain.
Exactly.
But Kansas is the far better squad. I haven't been overly impressed with the Maryland Terrapins so far, so I really look for Kansas to run away with this one.
Definitely. That's something I really agree with. But, I just Maryland, they have something about them that I just want them to do well, but they just don't do it.
All right, second half of that South region in Louisville, Miami. The 3 seed takes on the 2 seed Villanova, high-seeded matchup. Noah, we'll start with you on this one. Who do you pick between Miami and Villanova?
We see this one's tough for me. But in the end, I'm going to go with Miami. I think that they've been battle-tested a whole lot more than Villanova has, especially up to this point. And, Villanova, talented squad. This thing's going to go to the wire. Miami, a much better team defensively, though, so I like the Hurricanes.
I'm definitely agreeing with you there. Like you said, the battle test through the ACC shows how good Miami is. This team reminds me of the team with Shane Larkin. I think they're going to make a deeper run than most people really expect. So I'm going with Miami.
All right, we move to the East Regional across the bracket now. Number 1 seed North Carolina and the 5 seed Indiana. So Jelani, we'll start with you. Who do you like in North Carolina, Indiana?
Marcus Page, Bryce Johnson. Enough said. North Carolina.
Noah, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with that pick. That's a great pick. I mean, Indiana, when they play a team who can play any sort of defense in the post, they run into a brick wall. They can't score, and that's something Indiana loves to do is penetrate. So I like North Carolina just from the defensive aspect.
Definitely.
All right, second half of that East Regional in Philadelphia, 6 seed Notre Dame, 7 seed Wisconsin. Noah, we'll start with you on that one. Who do you like in Notre Dame, Wisconsin?
And two teams that I did not expect to get this far either. But there's something about the magic of Wisconsin at this moment that is making me go with my brain, and I'm going to go with Notre Dame instead, actually, just because the magic is in my gut with Wisconsin. And Notre Dame, just the far better squad, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the brain and go with Notre Dame. I
definitely agree. I'm going Notre Dame also. I think this team for Wisconsin has a lot of players from last year's deep run team. They have the experience, so I think it's a close game. They could pull it off, but like you said, there's just something. I don't know. I'm going with Notre Dame.
All right, we move down to the Midwest Regional. That'll be in Chicago. 1 seed Virginia, 4 seed Iowa State. Jelani, who do you like in that matchup?
I really like Virginia. Tony Bennett has done a really great job with that team. Their defense is really awesome. I just think Virginia is going to make a pretty good run this year, and I think this might be the year they win it all. So I'm going Virginia.
I don't know if they're going to win it all, but I believe they're going to win this game. I think this is one of those things where if Iowa State runs into a defensive team, they're going to hit a brick wall. Virginia does a great job of creating a perimeter around the interior, and Iowa State's going to struggle with that, and so I like Virginia to win this game.
And we move to the bottom half of the Midwest Regional. This is the upset game. 11 seed Gonzaga, 10 seed Syracuse. Jelani, who do you like in this one?
No, this one is really tough. I didn't think either of these teams would actually be here, but Jim Boeheim has the experience coaching. I'm not really familiar with this Gonzaga team. I watched their last game, but outside of that, I don't know what they have done throughout the season. So I'm going to go with Jim Boeheim and Syracuse.
A lot of tournament experience for Mark Few and Gonzaga, and the way that they're able to attack you in the post and then spread you out also on the perimeter is going to be a huge problem for Q's with their zone. So I think that this matchup benefits Gonzaga in this case. So I like the Zags to continue their run and possibly make it to the Final Four.
The first dissension of our thing. Finally, someone picks differently. All right, we move to the West. It was all chalk out there. Number 1 seed Oregon, number 4 seed Duke out in Anaheim. Noah, who do you like in this one?
I like the Blue Devils. They proved me wrong in the second round over Yale. I thought Yale would actually win that, but this is the type of game that really Duke matches up well against just because of all the offense that will be played, and I think Duke has the better individual playmakers, and that's what you need in this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I still am not sold on Oregon as a team overall. Grayson Allen has done a pretty good job this year. Ingram has done a very good job. I just think Duke is a better team. And like you said, they have the individuals. And in the NCAA tournament, you need those superstars to shine, and that's what they're going to do against Oregon.
And final matchup of our Sweet 16 picks. Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 3, Texas A&M out in the West Regional. Noah, who do you like in this one?
Well, I got this matchup right in my bracket, and so I'm going to stick to what I said in my bracket. I think Oklahoma's going to run through it. They've got more individual playmakers, and this is another one of those offensive matchups where that's what's going to matter here, and Buddy Hield's just going to carry him all the way.
This is also a matchup I had. I want to say Oklahoma. I want to say Texas A&M at the same time. It's really tough for me. I think Daniel House is a really good player. I do like Buddy Hield. But my bracket has me going with Oklahoma, and I'm going to stick to my bracket because it hasn't let me wrong yet.
All right, so now we're going to go through the Elite 8 matchups, just 4 of them. Who's going to punch their ticket to the Final Four? South Regional in Louisville. You both had Kansas and Miami matching up. So, Jelani, who do you like in that matchup?
I'm going Miami. I know a lot of people probably won't go Miami. I think Bill Self has done a great job. He's a great coach. But I think that Miami has a little bit more to give. They're a little bit stronger on defense. And Kansas always lets you down when they're not supposed to. And I think this is the game they let us down. I have Miami.
Well, I have Kansas in my national championship, so I can't go back on that now. I still think that Kansas is the best squad in all of college basketball, and they've been showing me that consistently, so I have no reason to doubt the Jayhawks in this game.
Jelani, I am one of the people that does agree with you. I've got the Canes in my Final Four. I like what Angel Rodriguez and the rest of that team does. It's
Definitely.
fun. All right, East Regional Final in Philly. You both have North Carolina facing off against Notre Dame. ACC matchup. Noah, who do you like in that one?
North Carolina, because they're the second greatest team in college basketball, and they're beginning to play like it right now. These two squads, basically, you're matching up at each position, and North Carolina's better everywhere. And so I like the Tar Heels.
Well, I agree with you to an extent. I think they're the third greatest team. We have to acknowledge UConn's women's basketball team. I just have to say it. That's a great team right there. But I'm also going with North Carolina here. I think North Carolina, like I said, with Bryce Johnson inside and you have Marcus Page outside, that's just going to be a really tough team to beat.
All right, we move down to the Midwest Regional. We'll start with Jelani because you two actually differed in this one. Jelani, you had Virginia taking on Syracuse, so who do you like in that matchup?
I like Virginia. Syracuse, I think they had a pretty good run, but Tony Bennett's team is going to be ready to play. And like I said, that defense is it's one of the best defenses in the nation, and I think they're going to come out there and win that game pretty handedly.
And Noah, how about you? You have Virginia and Gonzaga. So who do you like in that one?
I actually like Gonzaga, and
The Cinderella.
And Virginia was somebody that I had losing at this point anyway, I believe, in my bracket. And I just think because Gonzaga's going to be able to stretch the floor and penetrate into the Virginia, like the style of defense that Virginia plays, they create a perimeter around the post. And when you penetrate and kick out, it breaks them down. And so Gonzaga does that very well. I think this is a matchup that Gonzaga can finally get into the Final Four on.
So you really have Gonzaga going to the Final Four.
I didn't originally, but now I do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Nice pick there from Noah. Gutsy. I like it. Finally, we finish
Go
up
big or go
Midwest Regional. Duke and Oklahoma. You both had that matchup. Jelani, who do you like in this one?
I'm going Oklahoma. Buddy Hield, I think he'll match up really well against Duke. I honestly just Oklahoma all year has impressed me by the way they play, and Duke has not impressed me. They're really inconsistent, and if they do win over Oregon, I think they're going to be on a really emotional high, and they expect themselves to win it, to make it to the Final Four, but I think they will not be prepared for Oklahoma.
And Noah, who do you like in that Duke and Oklahoma?
This game's tough for me because I had Oklahoma in the Final Four, and now I'm watching Duke play, and they're on a scoring tear, and I think that's what Duke would need in this game to win. Not a lot of defense is going to be played, so I'm going to go off on another limb and be gutsy just for some dissension here. Blue Devils is going to pull off the major upset here because it's a major upset to me.
Okay.
All right, so just a quick review. Final Four in Houston. Noah has Kansas versus Duke on one side and North Carolina and Gonzaga on the other side. Gutsy pick there from Noah. Jelani's got Miami and Oklahoma on one side and North Carolina, Virginia on the other side. We can all probably agree, though, that most of our brackets are busted thanks to the Michigan State Spartans. So come back next week. We'll see how they do with those picks. But coming up next, it's Fill in the Blank. You don't want to miss this. It's AU Nation on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
From the moment we met, I knew we belonged together. I could tell right from the start that I was melting your heart, purring while you pet me, winding around your feet, and getting to just chill out with you. It felt perfect. But I don't know what just happened. Why am I in a cage, and who are these other sad animals? Where am I? They say I might get a new home. How can I get a new home when our bond was so special? What did I do wrong? How can you have given me up?
Welcome back to AU Nation on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6. It's time to play our old favorite, Fill in the Blank. I'm going to give the analysts a sentence, and they're going to have to fill in that blank. Analysts, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, get your dictionaries out, and let's go. Did you hear about the Adam LaRoche / White Sox drama? I think that blank could have handled the situation better. Jelani, we'll start with you.
I think that everyone could have handled the situation better. I understand, from Alan LaRoche, I want my son around, but you're still a professional at the end of the day. Your job is to play baseball. It's a tough situation because, yes, you want to be with your family and you don't get to spend a lot of time with your family once the season starts, but at the same time, you don't see anybody else bringing their son to the club every single day. So, every once in a while, I don't think it would have been bad, but when you do it every day, that's where the problems cause. So I think both sides could have done better overall.
Yeah, I completely agree. Adam LaRoche / Chicago White Sox should have handled this situation much better. I can understand where White Sox players are uncomfortable with a kid in the clubhouse, but at the same time, the White Sox absolutely lambasted Adam LaRoche about this, and I think that was the wrong way to go about things.
Definitely.
All right, finally, we here at AU Nation do not wish this upon any poor soul out there, but I think that blank would be the perfect fit for the Cleveland Browns at quarterback. Noah.
The way the Browns are set up right now, there really is no perfect fit. But, I mean, hey, let's just bring back like Joe Montana or something, somebody who throw when there's no offensive line or something. I don't know. I just imagine the Browns franchise as a car, and the car doesn't have seatbelts or airbags. And so whoever you send in there is going to be injury prone.
Well, the Cleveland Browns is a car. They don't have an engine either. They're not moving. They're not going forward. They're not doing anything. For me, the perfect fit is no one. There's going to be no perfect fit until you put an offensive line, get some tight ends, get some wide receivers, get a running back, get a general manager, get a head coach, get everything. They don't have a perfect fit right now.
When I saw this question today in our script, I told our producer, Jared Dillard, that Jesus might be the best fit at quarterback because, whoa, that team's got a lot of work to do. All right, but coming up next, you don't want to miss this. It is our burning question. We end it with the show every week. It's going to be an interesting one. You're watching AU Nation on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
Boys will be boys.
Well, she was drunk.
Well, he was drunk.
She was asking for it.
He warned her.
Not my problem.
Why doesn't she just leave?
But he's such a nice guy.
He said he was sorry.
We don't talk about that.
It's just the way people are.
We're never going to fix it.
No more excuses.
No more silence.
No more violence.
It's time to end domestic violence and sexual assault once and for all.
Sucks.
Welcome back to AU Nation on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6, and it is time for our burning question. The Indian Wells CEO and tournament director, Larry Ellison, stepped down from his position after he made remarks about female tennis athletes. Here's a full quote he had from a conference he had. Quote, I think the WTA, Women's Tennis Association, in my next life, when I come back, I want to be someone in the WTA because they ride on the coattails of men. They don't make any decisions, and they are very lucky. They are very, very lucky. If I was a lady player, I'd go down every night on my knees and thank God that Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal were born because they have carried this sport. They really have. End quote. With this comes a long-standing debate over free speech and your words having consequences. We also saw Donald Sterling get banned from the NBA for life for racist comments that he made. Should owners and CEOs feel forced to step down from their positions because of their opinions on certain topics, and where is the line drawn? Gentlemen, take it away.
Well, the situations there between Sterling and the Indian Wells official there is kind of different, just because the Sterling situation is behind closed doors. A lot of iffy things. Did he know he was being recorded? Did he not? And there are certain laws that come with knowing if you're being recorded or not. And so I think in the Sterling situation, I think it may have been a little bit far to say, hey, you have to step down. But then again, he does have to answer to someone. I think the difference there is that if you're an owner, it's your property. If you're a CEO, you're more of you're in a public position, and you aren't like the owner of this whole thing. You answer to the board and other people. It's kind of difficult for you to get on, but the situation at hand, people should answer for what they say, but at the same time, there's a gray area, and I don't think you can lump them both together. You get what I'm saying?
I do, but I disagree. I think both of them were in the wrong, and they should be punished for it. While you said yes, the Clippers were his property, the Clippers are a franchise of the NBA. The NBA is still ruled by a governing body, the commissioner, and all of the owners. So if all of the owners think you're not worthy of holding that position of being an owner of an NBA team, which is an honor, you should not be an owner. For him, the CEO of Indian Wells, you can't say that. That's disrespectful towards women. You have a mother, you possibly have a sister, you might have a daughter one day. That's extremely disrespectful. There are players out there that give and give and give towards the game. Maria Sharapova, the Williams sisters. There's a lot of people playing that you are disrespecting them and their family members and people they know by saying those things. That's not okay. You should never say something like that. Even if that is your opinion, that is not something you should state. You know what you're saying is not okay. Don't say it. There's no reason you should be going out there saying it. I think he should have been forced out. And is there a line, maybe, freedom of speech? Maybe. But at the same time, when you're representing an entire body, you should know better than to say something like that. That will be taken wrong. There's no way that you can say that and think people will not take that in a wrong way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if I made that clear. Obviously, what these two people said were completely wrong, okay? And the Indian Wells guys should step down because, especially in tennis, that is more of an equal footing there. I don't see where he's getting that from because there have been times in the past where females and males have competed against each other and females have won. I mean, there are major examples of that. And obviously what both of them said were wrong. I was not trying to convey that type of message at all. But I think that in regards to how the information is found and how it is obtained of what these people said or where they said it kind of matters. Obviously in a public setting, you can't say that kind of thing. And you shouldn't say that thing. It is wrong. But I think it more of depends, like with Sterling's situation, behind closed doors. Did he know if he was being recorded? I think that's kind of one of those things where nobody tried to punish the person who was recording without him knowing. You know, I think that people need to really try and look from all sides rather than just the pointing fingers immediately.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is with that, the situation is, like you said, it is different. But me personally, I think the person that was recording did justice towards everybody of getting him out of there when he is not representative of everybody. So,
an interesting debate that's going to rage on now and for a long time to come. Gentlemen, thank you for your opinions today. They did a great job. Come back anytime. We love having you both on. All right, but that's going to be it for AU Nation today. You can visit eagleeyetv.com for more of AU Nation. Make sure to tune in next week, same time, same place. I'm Evan Blank, and until next time, Auburn, I'm going to drive down to Florida, specifically Jupiter, crack open a nice cold Sammy Adams, and catch a ball game. Go Red Sox. We'll see you next week. Do it, Sammy Adams.